So reports have come out that hundreds of thousands of black women have lost their job in the past few months. Well, since Trump has been in office. What we're going to do is going to go over the story and we're going to probably try to break down the obvious reasons as to why this is happening. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Let's hit it.
There is a red flag in the job market that you don't necessarily see when the monthly government report comes out.
The overall unemployment rate is 4.3%. In the last year, it's barely moved. But take a look at what's happening with black women. Their unemployment rate has jumped to 6.7%. In tonight's Question Everything, why are black women losing jobs?
Now, keep in mind, the white women unemployment rate has held steady at about 3.3, 3.4%. So it has not went up, but the black women's unemployment rate has jumped.
Such a high rate. WBZ's Courtney Cole shows us experts are blaming three factors.
Tell me when you were laid off. So formally as of April of this year.
For Johnny Cadet's experience is all too familiar right now. A highly educated Black professional who's now unemployed and worried about her future.
The anxiety of the uncertainty of what comes next.
Cadet was the director of diversity and inclusion for a global research and advisory firm.
That is your reason, number one. I'm gonna say this: if anybody got a job that you haven't heard of in the last 100 years, and you got hired during the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris presidential term, it's a good chance that you either not working or you won't be working for long under this Trump administration.
And that's one of the factors behind more than 300,000 Black women leaving the workforce between February and April. Corporate America's retreat from DEI.
It's been really disheartening.
Abba Taylor is the president and CEO of YW Boston, an organization dedicated to creating more inclusive work environments.
Long-term career women in the federal government suddenly just being told they need to go for no reason.
She highlights a second factor: small businesses cutting back.
Small businesses are really being impacted by the tariff policies.
And the third factor, the layoffs in the federal government. There are more Black women working for the federal government than in the private sector.
This is a 5-alarm fire.
That's why.
Oh, you see what they said? I ain't like the way they worded that. Listen to it again.
And the third factor, the layoffs in the federal government. There are more Black women working for the federal government than in the private sector.
Now, is it more Black women working in the federal government or a higher percentage working in the federal government than the private sector? That could be that could be two different numbers if you understand what I'm saying. Because how many jobs are out there in the federal government compared to how many jobs are in the private sector? If there are less jobs in the federal government than the private sector, then if you lose, then you can say there's 11.7%. It may not be as high as 6.6% if there's like, let's say if there's like 1 million jobs in the federal government, but then there are 2 million jobs in the private sector, then it's not the same thing. So like I said, you just gotta be careful with the words that they use.
Than in the private sector.
This is a 5-alarm fire.
That's why Representative Ayanna Pressley is using this letter to voice her concerns to Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors.
What I'm calling on the Fed to do is to collect the data, to analyze the data, and to come up with a plan. 300,000 Black women have been pushed out of the labor force in the public and private sector, and that is a crisis.
She wants a response from the Fed no later than September 30th.
Black women have always been an economic indicator.
They say a lot of people are going to walk out of jobs today, so I wonder if that happened.
We have been the canaries in the coal mine. So it is advantageous, and economists will support this, for us to better understand exactly what is happening to Black women and then do something about it.
YW Boston isn't waiting for the federal government to help.
Talk to me about the role that YW Boston plays in addressing challenges that Black women are facing in the workplace.
We have a lot of programming coming up this fall to kind of focus specifically on women of color, Black women and women of color, including another webinar in October that focuses on women of color in the workplace. And so what is the status? So it'll be a continuation of this conversation.
Taylor tells me they're also working on putting a leadership program together for 2026. As for what's for Cadet,
You spoke to me a little bit earlier about being able to pivot and repurpose.
Yeah, I think right now it's helping organizations, as I mentioned, tie DEI principles to org effectiveness work. People are dealing with so much disruption now, societal, political, technological disruption. And right now, organizations need leaders who have met the moment and can really help lead through change. And so right now, I'm looking for different opportunities that are going to be more broad in integrating culture, learning, and employee experience.
now we have checked in with Representative Presley's office today, and they still have not received a response from the Fed. However, if you're watching and you're wondering, what can I do to positively impact change? Representative Presley encouraged community. She says this is the time to really show up for one another. She also mentioned plans to release more resources in the days to come. David, Lisa.
That is really important information.
I'm not not understanding why women don't know the leverage that they have. The one way that you can, I ain't gonna say guarantee, but that you can pretty much guarantee that you can have jobs or, make sure you can get hired and stay on jobs is scarcity. Now, and what I mean by scarcity is being able to be self-sustained, go somewhere and work, do a great job, bring in revenue for that job, stay on there, just be the greatest employee or supervisor or whatever. And you'll be surprised how people will come and look for you. Especially if, how people come and look for you and want you to work for them. You got people who hate to see you succeed without them, even if they don't want you. Now, my thing is this here. Like I said, if most of y'all got hired during the Biden administration, it's a good chance you're not working this. It's not a good chance you don't have a job now and probably won't have a job pretty soon. I wouldn't want to go back. I would not want to go back because why would you want to go somewhere where people don't want you? And they have outright told you. Donald Trump told you from the jump what he was going to do, and you didn't believe him. See, a lot of people believe that they get a job and they kind of put it in somebody's face, as in what they got, how they got it, and nan and boo boo. And then you have people to say, "I'm sorry. The moment I get a chance to get rid of you, that's what we're gonna do." And that's what Donald Trump has did. Like I say, he said he was gonna do that whole DEI thing and diversity and all that kind of stuff. Man, Donald Trump said he didn't like that, wasn't gonna do it, wasn't gonna go for it, and messed around and did just that. Just took it away. But I did a little research and I wanted to see what jobs are the federal government cutting that really affect Black women. And it said overrepresentation of Black women in certain agencies. Black women make up a larger share of the federal workforce than they do for the civilian workforce overall. Okay, well that is interesting. That goes against shows what I know about this. So I guess it is what the stats are. There are particularly concentrated agencies and roles that have been among those hit hardest by workforce reductions. And see which departments are seeing the biggest cuts. Education, approximately 63% women in the workforce. High Black representation, say 28% among workers. Now we know teachers, there are a lot of white women that are teachers. We done talked about that, how that's a problem really like in the Black community, because we don't see a whole lot of us representing us in the education sector. So workforce has been roughly halved under current administrative policies. Health and Human Services. Okay, majority of people of color, many jobs among administrative outreach, etc. plans for major reduction, 10,000 full-time employees plus more via voluntary departure. Housing and urban development, high percentages of both women and black employees. Targeted for layoffs, general reduction in agencies with majority minority workforce. It's think about this. Let's say if you work at a store and 60% of that store employees are black women. At least what 40%. So let's say then 20% of black men. So they probably knocking them all down. But anyway, 20% of black men, that leaves with 80, 20%, and then 15% are black white women and 5% are white men. So if they do let's say we got to start laying people off, black women are going to get hit the hardest most likely because it's more of them. You understand what I'm saying? So if it's more of the black women in these positions, because think about it, the VA, sure. I remember I worked at the VA. So a lot of black folks working at the VA. You know what I'm saying? But in non-patient care roles, most of them worked in you see like in like I say, administrative offices, like they talking about what do you call it? In the like in the kitchen duties, uh janitorial duties, working in the store in the cash register, stocking, stuff like that. They were like in those fields, the majority of them. Not a whole lot of them are nurses, not a whole lot of them doctors. Not a lot. Now you got a few. You got a few of them patient care techs and stuff like that. But like I said, the majority of them are non nursing roles. Okay, non clinical roles. So those jobs there, they feel like they can probably cut some of them jobs if need be. Even the ones in the office. I mean, they probably say, hey, we can cut some of those jobs because it's a lot of them working. They probably do a good job, but we losing funds, so we're gonna cut them jobs before we get rid of nurses and patient care techs and people who actually deal with patient care. Just gonna do it. But you have a lot of people who don't want to do them kind of jobs. They want to do the clerical jobs and be behind the scenes and be behind a desk and sit there all the time, answer phone, stuff like that. Well, when any place going to start laying off, they're going to start with the lower level people first. They're going to start cutting because they don't want to have to get rid of those that actually bring in the money. Like I say, like doctors, nurses, patient care, patient care staff. They're not going to do this. So that's why our women can get hit the hardest. Let's see, HUD, high percentage of both women already did that. Target layoffs, general reduction, Treasury, IRS. You might know a lot of black women working IRS. People of color are the majority in some units. Many positions in IRS have experienced staff reduction. The IRS has begun laying off many staff, cuts to civil rights, DEI offices. Well, we knew that was going to happen. They have been especially strong. The VA. Women make up 64% of the workforce. The VA is planning to cut 80,000 jobs or 50% of staff by the end of the fiscal year. Dang, that's a lot. And it's a lot. So the cuts have been heavier in certain kinds of roles or functions, which tend to have more black women in them. Administrative, outreach, human resources, DEI, and similar support or program coordination roles. See, jobs like this, like those, you can probably replace those with AI. Because they're already trying to put AI in schools right now. When you do doctor visits, you can do doctor visits on your phone. Since COVID, they've done that. So these are roles that they can get computers to replace you. That's why I've said before, whatever job that you have, find out what you can do with it if you can still keep it pertaining to AI. Because if not, if you don't get the skills, the AI skills, knowledge and know-how, they're gonna cut you off. They're gonna cut your water off real quick. You got to learn this artificial intelligence. And your kids need to learn it. No matter what field, no matter what job they're trying to get, They need to know the role that AI plays in that job. Because if not, ain't nobody gonna need them. Between February and March of 2025, employment among Black women dropped by 266,000 jobs in a single month. The Black women's unemployment rates have risen. In spring of 2025, the rate among Black women increased more than for most other races and gender groups. Better get your man with a good job. It said why they hit the Black women especially hard, because Black women are overrepresented in public sector. And that's another thing too. Like, we always talk about how we want our equal share, of everything. Like, I mean, don't just give me crumbs, give me what, hell, if I'm 12% of the population, give me 12% of everything. Don't try to take 90% of it or 95% and give me 5%. And I represent 12% of the population. You know what I'm saying? You set me up for failure. But if you are 12, 18, and this is what they say, I believe we're more than that in the population. But hell, if you're like 20% of the population and you work and you represent 68% of the job market, yeah, you're gonna get hit. You're gonna get cut. So many of the roles being cut are those that have traditionally offered greater job stability, benefits, and protections compared to jobs in the private sector. Things that tend to make federal jobs especially important for Black women. I remember working for the VA. You can't beat them benefits. I mean, the medical benefits and the retirement benefits are crazy. Crazy with the federal government. And once you work 10, 15 years, you can retire and you set for, I'm gonna say you set for life through the government for sure. Cuts to DEI programs or to bodies that do civil rights, equity focused work remove both jobs that are often held by Black women and some of the supports protections that help ensure equitable treatment. Here's my thing. The question I have is once Donald Trump is out of office, and if somehow a Democrat becomes president, will they reinstate these jobs? I'm willing to say I'm willing to say no. I don't think they will. Because there's a lot of things going on now that Donald Trump is doing that Democrats are not saying anything about or trying to do anything about. They just let him run all free willy-nilly. Why? Because I think they did what they did back in the day just for Black folks to vote for them and to get in the office. But once they lost, they start saying Black folks ain't really feeling the Democratic Party like we did in the past. Now I feel like they butt hurt, and they're like, well, see, we're gonna let him destroy the country, destroy you. Y'all can see what's going on, and then that way y'all can come back to us. I think that's what the Democrats are doing. But what do I know? What do I know? But anyway, that's all I got for the story, man. Tell me what you think about the story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. Have intelligent conversation. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you maybe a couple of minutes out your day, but it means the world to us here at this channel. And with that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.